Welcome to a tale of dreams, destiny, and the magic of New Orleans. The Princess and the Frog is a modern fairy tale inspired by E.D. Baker's beloved novel, The Frog Princess, first published in 2002. This reimagined story, created by KhanTales, blends the heart of folklore with the soul of the Jazz Age, where bayou magic, hard work, and true love shape a young woman's journey. Set against the enchanting backdrop of 1920s New Orleans, this tale reminds us that dreams come true not just through wishes, but through courage, kindness, and perseverance. Open your heart and let the story begin.
In a beautiful neighborhood in New Orleans, a grand mansion stood under the warm southern sun. Inside, two little girls sat on the floor, Charlotte and Tiana. They were best friends, even though they couldn't have been more different. Charlotte believed in wishes, big, sparkly, magical ones. She dreamed of becoming a princess one day. But Tiana, she believed that dreams only came true with hard work.
Wishing's fine, but it won't mean a thing without effort.
Two hearts, two hopes, and one friendship that would last a lifetime. One cozy night, the lights were low, and the girls sat listening with wide eyes. Tiana's mother, Eudora, the finest seamstress in New Orleans, closed a fairy tale book and smiled. She had just finished the tale of a prince turned into a frog.
Well, girls, what would you do if you met a frog prince?
There is no way in this whole wide world I would ever, I mean never, kiss a frog.
Oh, I'd kiss 100 frogs! If it meant I'd get to marry a prince and be a real princess!
One dreamed with her heart. The other stood firm with her feet on the ground, and the stars outside twinkled as if listening in. Back at their warm little home, the aroma of spices filled the air. Tiana stood beside her father, James, stirring a bubbling pot of gumbo. Just like her daddy, she loved to cook from the heart.
I think it's done.
Well, sweetheart, this is the best gumbo I've ever tasted.
James looked at his daughter with pride.
A gift this special's just got to be shared.
And in that moment, Tiana felt it too. Cooking wasn't just about food. It was about love. That evening, the house came alive. Tiana and her parents welcomed neighbors from all around. Plates passed from hand to hand, gumbo steaming, hearts full. In the glow of lantern light and laughter.
You see, food brings folks together.
To James, it wasn't just a meal. It was a reminder. Family and friends were what truly mattered. That night, after the laughter faded and dishes were done, Tiana and her father sat beneath the stars. They shared a dream of opening their own restaurant together.
Go on, sweetheart. Wish on the evening star.
Tiana closed her eyes and wished.
But remember,
He said,
you have got to help it along with some hard work of your own.
The years slipped by, and little Tiana became a young woman. Her father, James, was past now, but the dream they shared still lived in her heart. Every spare penny she earned waiting tables, she saved for their restaurant. No time for dancing, no time for daydreams. Only the dream and the work it would take to build it. One bright New Orleans morning, the city buzzed with excitement. Prince Naveen of Maldonia had arrived. With a dazzling smile and rhythm in his soul, he jumped right in, playing jazz the moment his feet hit the ground. Trailing behind him, puffing and panting, was poor Lawrence, the prince's overwhelmed valet, buried beneath a mountain of luggage. At Duke's Cafe, the morning rush was in full swing when Charlotte burst through the door with her father, Big Daddy LaBouffe.
Oh, Tia, did you hear? Prince Naveen of Maldonia is coming to New Orleans, and Big Daddy invited him to our masquerade ball tonight. I'm going to need about 500 of your man-catching beignets.
With Charlotte's massive beignet order, Tiana finally had enough. She met with the Fenner brothers, handed over her savings, and watched with joy as they drove away to finalize the deal on the old sugar mill.
Table for one, please.
It was her mother, Eudora, carrying James's old gumbo pot, a gift filled with memories and dreams.
I've got to make sure all Daddy's hard work means something.
Tiana gazed at the old sugar mill, already envisioning the bustling restaurant it would become. To her, it was a dream in reach, but to her mother, it was a heavy load.
Tiana, your daddy may not have gotten the place he always wanted, but he had something better. He had love, and that's all I want for you, sweetheart.
Meanwhile, Lawrence reminded Prince Naveen that he was here to marry a wealthy young lady, or get a real job.
I would wager I am in the company of visiting royalty.
Lawrence, this remarkable gentleman has just read my palm.
Or this morning's newspaper.
He'd spotted the headline about Naveen's arrival tucked in Facilier's pocket. But soon, the evil Dr. Facilier convinced the men he could give them their heart's desires, if they followed him to his lair. Cautious at first, Naveen and Lawrence exchanged uneasy glances. But in the next moment, their hands clasped his, and the deal was sealed. The room exploded into color and chaos. The spell had been cast. Meanwhile, the masquerade ball at the LaBouffe estate was in full swing. Glittering gowns, swinging jazz, but still no sign of Charlotte's prince.
It's just not fair. I never get anything I wish for.
She turned her eyes to the evening star.
Please, please, please.
And then it happened. Prince Naveen made his grand entrance in royal style. Within moments, Charlotte was spinning across the dance floor. Her wish had come true. While Charlotte twirled across the dance floor, Tiana caught sight of the Fenner brothers near the refreshments. They had bad news. Another buyer was eyeing the sugar mill. And if Tiana couldn't come up with more cash, the dream would slip away. Her heart sank. She rushed after them, trying to save the deal, but lost her footing, and landed face first in her tray of beignets. The crowd paused. Tiana, covered in powdered sugar, was crushed. After the beignet disaster, Charlotte kindly lent Tiana a clean dress. Moments later, Tiana stepped onto the quiet balcony. She sighed and looked up at the sky. "I cannot believe I'm doing this," she whispered, as she made a heartfelt wish on the evening star for her restaurant dream. When she opened her eyes, a frog was staring at her.
I reckon you want a kiss?
Kissing would be nice, yes?
Tiana shrieked and bolted back into Charlotte's bedroom, hurling pillows, books, anything she could find at the talking frog.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Prince Naveen of Maldonia.
Tiana blinked in disbelief.
If you're the prince, then who was that waltzing with Lottie on the dance floor?
Prince Naveen didn't know how it happened, but he was sure of one thing. Tiana could break the spell. After all, wasn't she a princess?
One kiss, that's all I need, and I promise you a handsome reward.
Tiana hesitated, but the promise of a reward meant a step closer to her dream. So she took a deep breath, leaned in, closed her eyes.
Aye!
Because instead of breaking the spell, Tiana had just joined it. And now, Tiana was a frog too. Frantic and wide-eyed, the two frogs catapulted out the window, landing with a splat on the dance floor below.
Get those frogs.
Charlotte's dog took off like a rocket, ears flapping, paws skidding across the marble floor. Just then, Naveen spotted a bunch of helium balloons.
Going up, up, up.
With Naveen holding tight to the strings and Tiana holding tight to him, they floated into the glittering New Orleans sky. Back in the LaBouffe's guest quarters, Dr. Facilier wasn't pleased. The prince standing before him? Not Prince Naveen at all, but Lawrence, disguised by dark magic. Facilier had used his voodoo to swap the two, turning Naveen into a frog and Lawrence into a prince. Together, they planned for Lawrence to marry Charlotte and steal Big Daddy's fortune. But the magic, it had a catch. It needed Naveen's blood, sealed inside a glowing talisman. And now, Naveen had escaped. Deep in the bayou, two frogs were not having the best first date.
Why didn't that kiss work?
I don't know. You were supposed to be a princess.
Their argument didn't last long, because glowing eyes began to surround them. Alligators. Lots of them. Tiana dove into a hollow tree for safety. Naveen, still flailing, stuck.
Help me get out of this swamp, and once I marry Charlotte, I'll get you that restaurant.
Tiana paused, then reached out. With one strong pull, he was safe. Safe at last, Tiana steered their makeshift boat through the swamp. While Naveen, he kicked back like he was on vacation. That is, until a giant alligator surfaced right beside them.
What is that?
Turns out the gator was friendly. His name was Louis, and he loved jazz.
You cats play? I got me a trumpet. Wanna jam?
He and Naveen hit it off instantly, riffing on notes and dreams.
I like this gator.
But when Louis learned they were actually frogs trying to turn human again...
You need magic? I know just the gal, Mama Odie.
Magic. Finally, a lead. Back at the LaBouffe mansion, Prince Naveen, who was really Lawrence in disguise, was trying to keep his cool over lunch with Charlotte. But the magic in Dr. Facilier's talisman was fading. Fast. Lawrence's ears began to bulge, his nose puffed up, and his backside nearly popped out of his suit.
Will you marry me?
Yes, I most definitely will marry you.
She was far too excited to notice her prince was puffing up like a pastry. Deep in the Louisiana bayou, Tiana, Naveen, and Louis continued their journey, bouncing through the reeds on a makeshift raft. That's when they met someone unexpected.
Well, hey there. Name's Ray. You all looking for Mama Odie?
Ray, a warm-hearted firefly with a big personality and an even bigger glow, offered to lead the way. With a single whistle, the sky lit up as his shimmering firefly family arrived. A glowing chain of light dancing above the swamp. And just like that, their path to Mama Odie was lit. But while hope glowed in the bayou, danger gathered back in the city. Dr. Facilier, the shadow man, stood before the haunted masks on his wall.
I need that frog, and fast.
He called upon his friends on the other side. From every corner of the room, spirits slithered out, dark shadows with glowing eyes and twisted shapes.
Search everywhere.
The hunt for Naveen had begun. As twilight settled over the bayou, soft firefly light danced among the trees.
She's the prettiest firefly that ever did glow. My Evangeline.
Ray spoke of her like she was a queen in the stars, his tiny heart glowing brighter with every word.
Just do not settle down so quickly, my friend.
Tiana rolled her eyes and moved ahead, following Ray's flickering light away from the water. While behind her, Louis wrestled with a tangle of pricker bushes, clearly not built for the wild. Out of nowhere, whoosh! A net snapped through the air, trapping Naveen mid-hop. 3 rugged hunters had spotted frogs, and they were out for a catch. Louis dove for cover, his trumpet dreams forgotten in a heartbeat.
A bug's gotta do what a bug's gotta do.
Naveen escaped the trap, but Tiana was caught, locked inside a cage. The moment Naveen spotted Tiana trapped with the hunters, he didn't hesitate. He charged right in. Together, the two frogs scrambled, leaped, and tricked the hunters at their own game.
These two ain't like no frogs I ever seen.
And we talk too.
With laughter echoing in the bayou, they hopped into the trees, side by side. For the first time, truly a team. As Ray tugged prickers from Lewis's back, Tiana got straight to work. Dinner had to be made, even in the bayou. She handed Naveen some mushrooms.
Go ahead, mince those.
I've never done anything like this before.
Then it's a good time to learn.
Before long, the frogs were cooking side by side, laughing, learning, and for the first time, really getting to know each other. After supper, full and content, the friends lay back beneath a velvet sky.
There she is, the sweetest firefly in all creation.
Tiana glanced up, only to realize Ray wasn't pointing at a firefly. He meant the evening star. And while Lewis filled the bayou with music, Tiana and Naveen began to dance. Not just as frogs, but as two souls, slowly drawing closer. Then, without warning, the peaceful night shattered. Dark shadows, summoned by Dr. Facilier, descended from the trees, twisting, grabbing, reaching for Naveen.
Naveen!
Tiana clung to him with all her strength. Lewis rushed in, and Ray zipped through the air, glowing bright. But the shadows were too strong, and just like that, he was gone. Boom! A brilliant flash of light cut through the darkness, vaporizing the shadows in an instant. Standing tall, well, sort of, was Mama Odie.
Not bad for a 197-year-old blind lady.
She led them to her home, an old shrimp boat perched high in a tree, tangled in vines and glowing with charm. Tiana tried to explain why they'd come. But Mama Odie? Oh, she already knew everything. Inside her whimsical treetop boat, Mama Odie stirred a bathtub full of gumbo, like it was the most natural thing in the world.
Now you all figure out what you need?
We need to be human.
Y'all want to be human, but you're blind to what you need.
She could see right through them. The magic wasn't in a spell. It was in the lesson they still had to learn. Mama Odie waved her hand over the gumbo, and suddenly a vision shimmered in the pot. Charlotte and her father, Big Daddy LaBouffe. He was about to be crowned King of Mardi Gras, which meant Charlotte was a princess.
If Naveen kisses her before midnight, poof, you both turn human again.
There was no time to waste. With Ray lighting the way and Louis blasting a tune, they leapt aboard a riverboat packed with Mardi Gras revelers, speeding toward New Orleans and a second chance. As the riverboat floated beneath the starlit sky, Naveen looked at Tiana, and his heart overflowed. He had fallen in love with her, not for her dreams, but for her courage, her fire, her heart.
There it is, the sugar mill.
But Naveen's smile faded. He didn't have the money, and tomorrow, the chance to make her dream come true would vanish. Not wanting to break her heart, he turned away, carrying the weight of love he couldn't give. Alone on the deck, Naveen barely had time to breathe. Before the shadows struck, dark tendrils snatched him from the light and dragged him back to the one pulling the strings, Dr. Facilier. With a drop of blood and a wicked grin, Facilier restored Lawrence's disguise, turning him once again into the false prince. As for Naveen, he was sealed inside a tiny chest, his only hope, locked away in shadows. At the dock, Ray couldn't hold it in any longer.
He's not gonna marry Charlotte. He's in love with you, Tiana.
Tiana's heart skipped.
Could it be true?
She rushed toward the Mardi Gras parade, only to freeze in her tracks. There, atop a giant wedding cake float, Prince Naveen, smiling beside Charlotte in a wedding gown. Tiana's heart sank. She turned away, tears shimmering in her eyes, convinced she was too late. But Ray knew the truth. Naveen wouldn't marry anyone else. He darted through the Mardi Gras lights, up to the wedding float, and found the real Naveen trapped inside a chest. As Charlotte and her fake groom were about to say, "I do," a blur of green launched into the air. The Frog Prince sprang onto Lawrence and ripped the glowing talisman from his neck. The truth was about to come out. Lawrence and Naveen toppled off the float, scrambling into a side building.
Lawrence, why are you doing this?
Just then, Facilier appeared. In a flash, Naveen whipped out his tongue, snatched the glowing talisman, and flung it through the air. Ray caught it mid-flight and soared into the night.
Stay out of sight,
He growled at Lawrence, whose disguise had already melted away. With a flick of his fingers, Facilier summoned his shadows and sent them to hunt Ray. In the misty shadows of the cemetery, Ray spotted Tiana.
Take it! Run!
Ray turned to face the oncoming shadows. His tiny light blazed like a star, but Dr. Facilier swatted him from the sky and crushed him underfoot. The doctor caught up with Tiana, grinning darkly.
Hand it over, darling.
Tiana gripped the talisman high.
I will smash it. End it all.
But Facilier whispered a promise and blew shimmering dust that clouded her eyes. A vision shimmered before her. Her restaurant, her dream, finally real. Suddenly, Tiana stood inside her dream. A warm, golden glow lit the restaurant she'd always imagined. Guests smiled. The chandeliers sparkled. Her name was on the sign.
All you got to do to make this a reality is hand over that little old talisman of mine.
He leaned closer, voice like a shadow in her ear.
Don't forget your poor daddy.
Tiana's eyes welled with tears, but they held fire.
He never lost sight of what was really important, and neither will I.
With all her strength, Tiana hurled the talisman to the ground. The vision vanished. Darkness twisted, the shadows turned, and closed in on Dr. Facilier. Tiana could only watch, frozen in fear. Then, silence. The shadows melted into the mist. All that remained was his black top hat lying among the gravestones. Tiana found Naveen speaking with Charlotte.
So, if I kiss you before midnight, you and Tiana will turn human again? Then we're gonna get ourselves married and live happily ever after. The end.
Charlotte always did love a fairy tale ending.
But remember, you must give Tiana all the money she needs for her restaurant.
Wait!
Naveen turned to her.
My dream wouldn't be complete without you in it.
Charlotte could see the truth. Her friend was in love.
I'll kiss him for you, honey. No marriage required.
But the clock struck midnight, and Charlotte was no longer the Mardi Gras princess. Though Tiana and Naveen were still frogs, they had found something even greater. True love. Then came Louis, rushing through the shadows, cradling Ray gently on a feather.
We are staying together.
I like that very much. Evangeline likes that too.
And just like that, Ray's little light flickered out for the last time. Later that night, deep in the heart of the bayou, Tiana and Naveen stood beside Louis, saying goodbye to their dear friend, Ray. As his firefly family lifted their glowing eyes to the sky, they saw something magical. There it was, the evening star, and right beside it, a brand new star, shining just as bright. Ray had been right all along. True love always finds its way. As the sun rose over the bayou, Tiana and Naveen stood hand in hand, ready to say, I do. And with a kiss to seal their vows, something extraordinary happened. In a swirl of sparkling magic, the two frogs became human once more.
Once you became my wife, that made you
a princess.
You just kissed a princess, she said. And just like that, the spell was broken. Tiana and Naveen celebrated their second wedding, this time with all their human friends and family gathered around. Eudora beamed with joy, watching her daughter step into a life filled with love and dreams fulfilled. Even the prince's parents were amazed, seeing their son not only in love, but working hard and working with heart. Together, Tiana and Naveen rolled up their sleeves and began restoring the old sugar mill, turning it into something magical. At long last, Tiana opened her dream restaurant, Tiana's Palace. Louis lit up the room with his trumpet, and the kitchen served up the best gumbo in town. But what made Tiana's Palace truly special was how it brought people together: family, friends, music, and love. At last, Tiana had everything she ever wished for, and everything she truly needed.
In the end, Tiana's dream came true, not because of a wish, but because she worked with all her heart, stayed true to her values, and never lost sight of love. Magic may open the door, but it's courage, kindness, and hard work that carry you through it. The real happily ever after is when you walk your path with love, purpose, and faith.